guys, it's Jessica with Southern Sparrow, and we are in our Mahjong 102 series where right now we are going section by section on our National Mahjong League card. So come along with me. We are at our consecutive run, which I will say is probably the most popular section for beginner Mahjong players. And I think part of that is obviously counting comes easy. Maybe we've played Jin Rummy or we've played Rummy Cube, and so kind of going in consecutive order feels a little bit more natural than some of these other groupings. And so I think that's one of the reasons why it's so popular. There's also a lot of flexibility in this section. So I'm not going to show you every single line in this section because there's just so many on top of a rack, but let's talk through each and every line and where there's flexibility and where there's not. So starting with this first line, you'll see that there's a left option and a right option. And please go get your National Mahjong League card and follow along with me. I know it can be rather difficult to kind of see what I'm doing on my card on these videos. So if you have yours in front of you, it will be so much easier, and I'll tell you which number line we're going for. So this top line, you have a left and a right section. So really the only difference, they're shown in all one suit, that's all navy, right, on this top line. And the difference between left and right is just the numbers in the way that they're shown. So you have kind of the lower numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on this left-hand side, and you have the higher number, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 on the right-hand side. And if we read the parentheses for that, it's any one suit. We knew that from the color, and it does say these numbers only. So that's important to note. That first line in consecutive run, there's not a lot of flexibility there. You're going to have to play that exactly as it's written, following the exact numerical pattern that's shown, either playing the left-hand side with the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or playing the right-hand side with the 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So just keep that in mind that you can't play that as 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It has to be exactly those numbers that are shown for that first line on the consecutive run section. The second line down, again, we have a left-hand option and a right-hand option. And so the only difference there in the two options, left hand and right hand, is the number of suits, right? The first way that this hand is shown is in all navy, and that's all one suit. And the second way that it's shown, the suits are changed in the middle because the colors change in the middle of the hand. So this is shown as 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s in all one suit on the left, or 1s, 2s in a suit, 3s, 4s in a second suit. And so when you read those parentheses, it does tell us any one or any two suits. So you choose, either you're playing it as a single suit, maybe you're playing it as all cracks, or you're playing it as two suits, maybe you're playing it as bams and dots. But you are changing that suit where the colors change to follow the pattern on the card. And then let's keep reading those parentheses. Any 4 consecutive numbers. So again, it's shown as 1, 2, 3, 4, but unlike that first line in this section, it can be played as any 4 consecutive numbers, meaning you can legally play this hand as 5, 6, 7, 8. So a 5, 6, 7, 8. Sorry. We've been doing a lot of Taylor Swift this week, guys. I'm very dancey. So we have it either one suit or two suits, and it can be any 4 consecutive numbers. All right, the third line down. So again, we have a left and we have a right, and the only change is the number of suits. So in this instance, this is the third line down consecutive run. We've got it as all one suit on the left or 3 suits on the right? And when we read our parentheses, it will tell us that any 1 or 3 suits. So that means you can choose to play it as all one suit or as all 3 suits, following where those change in the pattern, the way it's laid out. And then it says any 3 consecutive numbers. So this is very similar to the hand above. It just has 3 suits instead of 2, and it's any 3 consecutive numbers. It's shown as flowers, 1s, 2s, 3s, but you could play it as flowers, 2s, 3s, 4s, or 7s, 8s, 9s. Just follow the pattern, but you can play it in any 3 consecutive numbers. Okay, the next line down I do have shown for you here on this rack in front of me. So it is shown on our card as 3 flowers, a little run of singles, 1, 2, 3, change suits, Kong of 4s, change suits again, Kong of 5s. But our parentheses say any 3 suits, we knew that from the color changing, any 5 consecutive numbers. So it's shown as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those are their 5 consecutive numbers. the way I've shown it here is I have my 3 flowers. For my little run, I have it as 3, 4, 5, which then means I have a Kong of 6s in a second suit and a Kong of 7s in a third suit. So again, you have to have all 3 suits to follow all 3 colors on the card, and then you're just matching the pattern, but I've changed the number. So this could be, you know, 5, 6, 7, 8s, and 9s. Now the highest number you can start here is with the 5s because you have to be able to have your Kong as a 9 there. And obviously there's not a 10 tile. So one more thing to remember on this little run of singles, this 3, 4, 5, even though it's shown as a grouping of 3 tiles, it's not a grouping of 3 like tiles, meaning you cannot put a joker in it, and you cannot call for one of those tiles unless it's your last tile to Maj. So you can call for your grouping of flowers, you can use a joker there. You can call for your grouping, here we have 6s, this Kong here or this Kong here, you can call for those, you can use a joker in them. You could use all jokers in one of them, but you cannot call for or use jokers here. So that's something to keep in mind. Okay, let's look at another hand here. So the next line down I don't have shown on a rack. It's shown as 1s, 2s, 3s in one suit with pairs of opposing dragons. Okay, and our parentheses say any 3 suits, any 3 consecutive numbers with, it says op dragons. And op dragons is short for opposing dragons. Let's talk about what that means. Opposing dragons just means dragons that are not the suit that you've used for your numbers. So you'll see all throughout this card things that call for either matching dragons or opposing dragons. And oftentimes when it needs opposing dragons, it'll just say OPP dragons. And the matching dragons, obviously the green dragon, here's our green dragon, he goes with Bam. The red dragon, he matches with Crack, right? They're the same color as the suit they match with. The Soap, he matches with Dot. So those are the matching dragons. Green matches Bam, red matches Crack, Soap matches Dot. Opposing dragons would be, if you're playing it in Bams for your numbers, then you're gonna need Dot and Crack for your opposing dragons. And vice versa. If you're playing it with Crack for your numbers, you're gonna need Green and Soap for your opposing dragon. So that's what opposing dragon means. Let's look at the next line that I have shown here. I think this is actually the trickiest line in the consecutive run, not because it's difficult, but because there's so much flexibility, it can get confusing. So it is shown as this fun little run. This is kind of a gin rummy style run. You don't see those a lot in recent years cards for the National Mahjong League. I wonder if this is one that someone suggested because so many people are new to the game, and a lot of times new players do kind of want to look for that gin rummy-esque run. And so that's what you have here is this rummy run, right? So you have 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you have Kongs of 1s. But this hand, it's so important to read the parentheses. Okay, our parentheses say any 5 consecutive numbers, right? They've shown it as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's their 5 consecutive numbers. Pair any number in run. So that means the way they've shown it, they have the pair at the very beginning of the run, but you could move your pair and do it the 2nd number in the run. You could do it as the 3rd number in the run. You could do it as the 4th number in the run, or you could do it as the 5th number in the run. You need a pair in that run, but it can be anywhere in your run. And then keep reading, Kongs match pair. So this is where it can get confusing, right? You're feeling like, okay, I understand when the pair is at the front and then my Kongs match the front, and I kind of understand, like, I could make this 2, 3, 4, 5, I could make this 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and have my 2s and 2s, but look at the way that I've shown it here. So I have it as 5, 6, 7, 8, 8, 9. So my pair is the 8s. It's the 4th number in my run, which is unlike the way that they've written it here. And then my Kongs, my groupings of 4, they match the pair. That's what's written in the parentheses. Kongs match pair. My Kongs match my pair of 8s. So my pair was able to go as the 4th number, and then my Kongs match. So I could do it as a pair of 6s and do 6s as my Kongs. I can move that pair around in here, and then as long as my Kongs match my pair, then that is totally fine. So that is where a little bit of confusion can come. Okay, the last line on this section, you have flower, flower, single one, pair of twos, pung of threes, change suits, single one, pair of twos, pung of threes. So we have two suits, right? And it tells us that in the parentheses, any two suits, any same three consecutive numbers. Same three consecutive numbers, which means it's shown as 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You can change that and make it 4, 5, 6, 4, 5, 6, but you can't make it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They must be the same three consecutive numbers. So you're changing the suits, but the numbers have to match that pattern. Remember, Mahjong is all about pattern matching, y'all. We are getting so good at matching these patterns, and that, I think, is what is scratching that really satisfying itch when you're playing Mahjong and you're building your hand and you get it. That's where that feeling of like, oh, I saw the pattern, I followed the pattern, I made the hand. It's so exciting. We're getting there. So this last line, again, you can make it any two suits, any same three consecutive numbers. So you can make it 7, 8, 9, 7, 8, 9. Just make sure you're doing two suits, you're following the pattern, and it's the same three numbers. And again, reminder, that last line in the section is a concealed line. And what that means is you cannot call for a discard unless it's your last one to Mahjong. So you can't call and expose throughout the game. It has to be your last tile to Maj if you're gonna call it. Everything else must be drawn naturally. Happy Mahjong, y'all.